Are you a sex worker seeking community with other sex workers? A space where we can just be our true selves? Join our free Authentic Relating sessions, created by and for sex workers across the industry. Whether you're a dancer, performer, creator, or any of the fancy naked people in our community, online or in person, this space is for us. We explore honest, present moment conversations that help us feel seen, heard, and understood. Building genuine connections that prioritize communication, community, and authenticity. Our weekly sessions include a public audio-only space for sex workers and allies to connect and grow, and a private video-enabled space for a deeper connection and support among sex workers only. This is our space to thrive in community and connection. Learn more at bit.ly/SW Authentic Relating. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stripped by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. I'm your host, I won't say my real name, Steph Sia. Sia on camera is me online, but I've built my brand on my name, so this is what's happening with that. I'm also known as Kimchi on stage. If you catch me dancing, I'm not sure when I'll be dancing yet, but we'll see because I might be hanging up those pleasers pretty soon. But if you can find me online, I stream exclusively on Streamate under the name Sia on Camera. You can find me on various subscription apps like OnlyFans, Got Sex Panther, and other places as well. And I've been doing this show for about 5 years, just over 5 years, and have been in the industry for over a decade. Starting off many, many years ago as a sugar baby, not knowing anything in the world. And here we are today, over 10 years later, and much wiser, asking questions and, having people on the show to talk about sex work. So if it's your first time here, this show is all about destigmatizing sex work, destigmatizing the adult industry, because oftentimes our work is highly misunderstood. People don't understand it. People make assumptions. It's based on stereotypes. All that stuff is really dangerous. And I just want to bring different people on from the industry and various corners of the industry, whether they're a producer, whether they are a on-screen talent, they're a cam model, they're part of organizations that help combat like to really advocate for sex worker rights. So there's lots of things and different perspectives that come onto the show to really paint a really authentic picture of what sex work actually is, and not just the fluff that you might hear on TikTok and in society and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to bring on to the show Nicole Aria, who I will introduce very shortly. And this episode is all going to be about hardcore content, hardcore everything. So everything under the sun, and like, how do you prep for that? What do you eat? How do you rest? And stuff like that. So it's going to be a really packed episode with that. But before we get into all that fun, hardcore stuff, we are going to just say a quick hello to the lovely Patreon subscribers that have been supporting since season 4, because that's when I launched my Patreon. So if you're curious, Patreon is all about, supporting your favorite creators in a certain way. And, after a while, people like, how can I support you? You're doing such good work. Like, you're providing all these free resources and information to people. How can we support you? Do you have a PayPal or like Zelle, or what can I do to send you money to help you and help bring more people onto the show? So I launched Patreon, and there you can find all of the episodes. You got tons of bonus content that doesn't get released out to the public. We have, like sneak peeks on like who I'm bringing on. You get access, like full access for the video aspect of the show that is located there in Patreon. And we have tiers for as low as $4 a month, which isn't much nowadays, but maybe it is for some, and that's okay. But if you want to get in touch with the community there, you can. It's super fun, super cool. Lots of really, really cool, like-minded people that are really interested in sex worker rights and advocacy. So if you are on the 3rd tier, you do get like a lovely fan recognition shout out. So I just want to say hello on the air to we have Snoo all the way from Germany. We've got Geyser. We've got Eric Arajo, Bia York from Seattle, McKenna King from Ottawa, Ontario. We've got Dan from Red Door Products from Seattle, Washington. We've got Dale Flood from Vancouver, Canada. Reina, all the way from Sweden, which I think is really cool that my podcast reaches that far. And we also have Ruby from Victoria, Canada. So lots of really great people that are up there. And also, like, there's people on the second and first tiers as well. Feel free to go check it out. It's patreon.com/strippedbysia. And just to be transparent, all of your proceeds for that goes towards website hosting costs. And, if I have extra money, then that would also go to me attending adult industry events like the AVNs and XBiz and X3 and all those fun events that happen throughout the year. So feel free to become a patron. It's patreon.com/strippedbysia. And as we get back into things, of course, like, we're not here to hear about Patreon, but we're here to hear about all about our lovely guest today. You may or may not have heard her. She's kind of a big deal in the best way possible. She goes by the name of Nicole Aria, and she is a award-nominated adult performer. And I'm talking about like the AVNs, we're talking about Urban X, XRCO, XBiz, tons of nominations and accolades there. She's also an escort, a content creator, and she's really well known for her hardcore scenes and anal content, which is, obviously the bulk of what we're going to be talking about today. She was also recently nominated for a 2025 AVN award, 2 of them actually. So we've got Best Oral Sex Scene and Best VR Group Sex Scene. So lots of great things to celebrate today. And I'm so excited to finally talk to her and sit down with her and get a bit more intimate and just learn a little bit more about her. So please welcome to the show, Nicole Aria.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, and we're so excited to have you. Thank you. I mean, they're all real things. There's so many great awards here, and check. You've earned so much in the past 3 years that three and a bit of being in the industry. So it's all well deserved, of course, because you got to put in the work.
I have fun with it.
Of course. And, we were going to get in touch with you. And, this is what I know from what I've read about you online and found out about you online. But I'd love to flip it back to you, Nicole, in terms of describing yourself to the audience in your own words and terms.
I'm just a giant pervert. I was a slut long before I was a professional whore. I just have always loved sex and everything about it, all the genders, all the experiences. I love it. So I was like, yeah, let's put this on camera. And now I shoot the wildest stuff and have a blast doing it.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Well, it's so great to hear, and I feel like what's common is that we were all pretty slutty back in the day. And now look where we are.
Right?
So
it's like, oh, why am I doing this for free?
Right? Well, let's take it back. Let's talk about a little bit about yourself and your humble beginnings. What got you interested in the adult industry? Let's talk about how you got into the work.
Well, I have wanted to get into the industry my entire life, forever. I thought it was just what I was meant to do, but I was very nervous about how people in my life viewed me. So I went the traditional route of, go to college, work nonstop for minimum wage or whatever, and not I was. So when I got my degree, I was working 2 full-time jobs during the day and overnight, and I was a full-time student. And I just rescued my kittens that I was bottle feeding every 4 hours. And I was like, why am I doing all this insanity and I can still barely pay my bills? So I was like, this is enough. We're in the middle of the pandemic. I finally graduated. I was like, all right, Florida, peace. I'm going to LA. And I knew nothing about the industry at all. I just knew I wanted to be in it. I was always a fan of the I guess the production, just the final product, but I never knew the behind the scenes or anything of the how to. I just moved to LA and figured it out once I got here, and it's worked out.
That's such a big risk. Oh my gosh. But like, it all worked out as you mentioned, which is really, really cool. Well, we'll back it up a little bit too. Like, can you share like what you studied back in college? And like, we'd love to hear of that side as well.
Yeah, so I have my bachelor's degree in biology with a focus on environmental science. I was a veterinary tech, like a vet tech, um, working in animal hospitals and everything, like helping them with the surgeries and all that stuff. Actually, with my cats, I like uh, helped with like their space surgeries. I intubated them, put in their IVs and everything. I'm like,
Amazing.
so I did a lot of like medical stuff, and it was great.
Wow.
But the dream has always been adult. So
Yeah.
like that was more of like a backup, like paying my bills. I'm happy, but like
Mm.
not like fulfilled. Now I'm like, okay, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled.
Well, that's also really, really good work as well. Like, obviously with animal rights and just saving animals, and there's a lot of animals that are in need too. So, like, still, that I mean, that is to be applauded as well. So, like, we do need people like that. But, if it's not like fully your dream, not fully exactly like what you want to do, then of course you should absolutely chase your dreams and see where that takes you. So that I guess that took you to LA with no plan except for like I got to get into this industry somehow.
Exactly, and it's working out because now that I'm self-employed, I am able to take 2 days off, like 2 days off work every week, and I volunteer those 2 days a week with animal rescue. So I'm like still getting to do what I love and paying my bills, and it's like everything is just perfect.
That's so amazing to hear. And I love to hear of any kind of creators or any kind of porn stars or anybody in the industry, still being able to give back to the community and things that are important to them. And maybe we'll touch on that in a little bit later as well. But
Yeah.
talk to us and take us back to 2021 when you were like, okay, I'm here in LA, or maybe it was earlier than that, but like, how did this even start? How did you get your foot in the door?
So I was in Florida at the time. It was pandemic. I heard about OnlyFans, so I was like, let me make one. Had no idea what I was doing. The content was just horribly produced and pathetic. It looked like I had no, like it was so bad. But it was only for like a month. And I was like, then my family found out I had an OnlyFans, and I was like, fuck it. If they know I have this, then like I'm going to go all in and do what I actually want to do, which is go to LA and do like full production. Um, so I found a stranger on the internet and drove across country with the stranger and her two cats and my two cats and all my belongings and some of her belongings. And I drove us nonstop to LA. And then I hotel hopped for a little bit. And then I figured it out once I got here, like applied to an agency. They booked me right away. And
And the rest
yeah,
is history.
the rest is internet history.
It's so true. Okay, wait, we got to go back. So, OnlyFans era for
Mhm.
yourself, and then your family finding out. If it's not too painful to talk about that, would you be open to speaking about like how did they find out and like how were you able to cope with that? Because that unfortunately that does happen to a lot of folks. That is unfortunately a reality for so many of us in the industry. And hopefully, maybe your story can help someone who's also listening and that's happened to them or is happening to them.
Yeah, actually, here in the States, today is Thanksgiving, so it's a little over 1 year since I cut my whole family out of my life, which is like something I celebrate. Um,
Yes.
or my immediate family, my distant family, I still love. But
Yay.
yeah, so my immediate family found out because one of my siblings found out and decided to tell the rest of the family. Uh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, what gives them
Um,
that right to do that? That's so freaking invasive. Like, why not have a conversation with you privately and talk about that if that is something that is somehow affecting them?
yeah,
Like,
I mean, they're a cop, so
oh, okay, gotcha. No,
no,
okay, no further question. Just like
yeah.
enough said.
Yeah, but my whole
Oh,
family
geez.
was like that, so I've been trying to like cut them out and distance myself pretty much my whole life because I've always been someone that is very supportive of equal rights, human rights, animal rights, just basic human decency, and they do not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it was just a nice little push I needed.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? If that is like, unfortunately, when it comes to family, if they're not serving you, like you are making the healthy choice of like, well, I'm just gonna not have any contact with you, and you're doing what's best for your mental health. And
Exactly. And I've never been
yeah,
happier. Like, I still have my extended family that knows what I do and loves me for it. So I'm like, screw y'all. If you don't accept it, then whatever. Like, I've been this way my entire life. This is no shock that of what
it's
I'm
not a
doing.
surprise.
Like, they knew I wanted to make this my career my whole life. They just thought they could like keep me down so I wouldn't do it. And I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, no, and you're much better off now. So
Oh
I'm
my god,
I'm really
so
glad
much.
to hear. Really
So
glad
much
to hear
better.
that.
Thanks.
So, who was a stranger that you met with the other two cats that you drove across the country with? Can you share some information on that?
I'm not too sure exactly. I know someone from Instagram that had a boyfriend that lived in LA and was like, I'm moving there. And I was like, I'll go too. And it worked out. Uh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's a long drive. That's a really,
I think it was
really
like
long drive.
26 hours nonstop, I think.
No way.
The anxiety of a stranger kept me awake.
You're like, I'm not going to
I'm like,
sleep. I'm
my
just going to
kids are
cuddle
in the
my
back. Like, I'm
cats.
not, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so you were kind of like finding your footing here a little bit, and then you were able to find an agency, and then it was just easy like that.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I just like was looking up agencies online. I applied to one at like 10:30 at night one night. I figured I wouldn't hear back till the morning because like business hours, which I then realized business hours don't exist in the adult world because I got a call almost immediately, and they were like, "Hey," I was like, "Oh, okay, guess this is happening." And then I got my first two shoots almost immediately. And the second shoot ever was a boy boy girl with anal. So like I like from the
God.
get, like it's been.
Oh my God. So, okay. Take us back to maybe your first scene. Walk us through emotions, any nerves, excitement. How are you like? Were you like aware of what your face looked like, anything like that, or just like I don't know what the hell I'm doing?
So I'm very autistic, so I never know what my face looks like. I have no control over it. It just does what it does. Uh, but my very first scene was a boy girl, and it was very much like showed me that I had no idea what the adult industry was behind the scenes because I was like, oh yeah, like I'm a great fuck, like let's fucking on camera, yeah. And it's not just fucking on camera. There's like performance to it, and I yeah, I mean apparently people still love that scene. When I got in, I had like a shaved head and pierced nipples, so it was like a totally different.
Whoa.
I've had so many different looks, yeah,
A different era.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd love to for you to elaborate on that point too. Like, you had certain expectations of what the adult industry is, and you're like, I love fucking, I love sex. How hard can this be? We're just fucking with a camera, and someone's filming us, and that's cool. But talk to us about the reality behind the scenes of like what you're not seeing, and angles and like sides and stuff like that, and getting into that performance aspect.
I don't remember exactly my first scene, like how I was feeling, because like I've had so many scenes, and I've just had so many people inside me, and yeah. But one thing that stuck out was because it was my very first scene, and it was a company that predominantly shoots first scenes. It was. I remember the director sat me down while doing paperwork and like got really serious and was like, "Hey, before you shoot this, just remember people get killed for doing this. People like your family will find out probably like this is serious. Like you want to like have to want to do this. Like there are repercussions. Like people in other countries can't even look at it or they'll be like in jail or killed. Like so many serious things. And I was really grateful for that because I mean, I was 24 when I got in, but like even at 24, I look back and I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing when I first started because it's just so different than the work field that I was used to.
Oh yeah, it's completely night and day. Like
Yeah.
what complete 180-degree
Yeah, because I've
change.
never, like, I've always been a full time student with at least one full time, usually two jobs. Like, I was always just work, where someone gave me a schedule, and all of a sudden, I'm my own boss. So it was A lot.
That's a lot of things coming at you. I mean, going back to that conversation with the serious questions and like the, are you sure you want to do that? I wasn't aware of that. And I'm really glad that we're talking about this because, actually like a lot of people and stars that I've talked to, they started at like 18.
Mhm.
And I'm actually, it's refreshing to hear that you started at 24 because like, at least you've lived a little bit. You've had some kind of like life experience. You've thought about it a long time. It's not just like a spur of the moment decision. Like, okay, let's just get some quick money and like get out of here. Because that often, I mean, that does happen a lot too, and it is a serious career pivot decision that you're making, right?
It really is. And like, yes, I could have gotten in at 18 because I've wanted to do it, like I said, my entire life. This has been the dream career forever. But I wanted to have my head on straight. I wanted to know I wasn't going to just like party a whole bunch or like mess it up. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure my mind was right and I had like thick enough skin. Because
Yeah.
there are some evil people out there that do not comment nice things.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. And there's, I mean, when your stuff is on the internet too, it's like not everyone's gonna love you
Right? And
too.
just being in the industry as a whole makes people wish your death, which is insane to me. But
Yeah, yeah, that's also like another
yeah,
aspect. Did you want to chat about that a little bit too?
I mean, yeah, sure. Just I know myself and many other performers. I think more than not, constantly have comments or harassing emails or DMs, just saying like telling you to like kill yourself or like describing the ways that they wish you were sexually assaulted and murdered and tortured and just these horrific things. And I'm like, I'm not bothered by it because that's just you reflecting on or deflecting like your own life, but like go to therapy. Like, why are you so offended at how I'm enjoying making my money? Like, I'm
Yeah,
living a good life. What's so horrible in your life that you're telling random people that have nothing to do with you these horrible things? Like,
yeah, it's really
therapy.
scary. And therapy can definitely help. And then some people honestly just don't have any lives and just do this to terrorize random people as strangers on the internet for I don't know what that motivation is. But yeah, a lot of deflection, things happening in their lives. But it's actually nice. It's not nice, but it's nice for you to mention that too because we don't really talk about that harassment and like the fandom that can happen when you get catapulted into porn stardom. So I think it's also like this life isn't for everybody.
Yeah,
We'll
like
say
it's
that.
almost daily messages of people like wishing horrific things on me, and I just have to like go and delete. And I'm like I don't care, but I'm like that's why I waited to have thick skin to get into this because I got to a place of like security in my life where I'm like they're literally irrelevant. If you're not paying my bills, fuck you.
Fuck
Like
off.
your life must be so miserable that you're deflecting, trying to make me miserable. No, not
Yeah,
happening. But
totally.
unfortunately, there are a lot of people that take it to heart, and I'm just like, don't like, don't let the trolls win. They're literally pathetic. No, like you're just being in this industry means you're so much braver than they will ever be.
Absolutely. And it just demonstrates like people that are taking the time to write those nasty, hateful and hurtful comments and emails and stuff to you, like it really just shows how much how dehumanized sex workers are. And because they don't view us as humans, they just view us as
No.
horrors and things, people are that are just replaceable and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff, which is a terrible outlook
Yeah.
on life and a way to view people. So it's horrific to hear about stuff like that. But again, like it's an unfortunate reality for some of us. But I'm glad that yes, you were able to have a thick skin going
Yeah.
into this adult industry because there's a lot of things like that like are just not mentioned and I'm really really glad that you're bringing it to light on this show, Nicole. So going back, so it's 2021. You've shot a couple scenes now, and I guess we had like your second scene was already some anal content. So were you ready for this? Did you ever have anal even before that? Like,
So much. It has always been my favorite. I always say like my favorite part of being in the industry is now I get my ass fucked whenever I want, which is so
hmm
often, and it's fabulous. I Never got enough anal before the industry. Like, I've been having anal sex pretty much as long as I've been having vaginal sex. It's just, I love it.
So we've really you really leaned into okay, anal hardcore stuff. We're gonna just, was it like when you're thinking back in the day, where you're like, this is gonna be my thing, this is gonna be my shtick, or it's just like I'm just gonna see what opportunities come up and we'll see what happens? Or like, was that like an intentional like marketing decision for yourself, like a business decision, or like you're kind of just going with the flow and see what happens?
So it's interesting you bring up like marketing and business, because almost every agent, director, other performers were like, I'm waiting for my first anal, da 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 da. I'm going to get a better payout. It's going to be better for my career. But I'm like, I got in this industry to do things that I enjoy. Anal is my favorite. I'm great at it. Why would I stop myself just for some potential increase in a one-time payment for a first or something? Like, that's nonsense when like almost all my scenes are anal at this point. Like, it just doesn't make sense to deprive myself of something I enjoy for like, I mean, yeah, I do
Right.
this because I love it. I'm not going to not do something just because some potential monetary gain. Like, no, I'm here to,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, gosh, I like it. And then for those who don't know and who are not in like adult performance, like as on-screen talent, is there a big disparity or big like rate differentiation between just like regular boy girl content, which is just more vaginal penetration versus anal penetration?
It depends. Every performer sets their own rates. Every company has their own
Mm,
budgets.
yeah, just depends.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a higher rate for some backdoor fun, just because the clean out process is tedious. But
Yes. And we will be talking about that and how you clean yourself out and all that stuff too.
Hey everyone, it's Carly David. I'm the founder of PS Group. We're the creative marketing agency for sex workers by sex workers. We get it. Things are changing fast. Standing out in this industry is tougher than ever. But whether you need a killer website, eye-catching graphics, merch design, pro-level video editing, we got your back. Our fees are totally project-based too. We never work on percentages or commission. Visit us at sexworkmarketing.com, say hello, let's start a conversation, see how we can navigate these changes together.
I mean, okay, so you're talking about, okay, I mean, you've shot with so many amazing production companies like Brazzers, Evil Angel, Vixen, and stuff like that. How has been your time on set
I love
currently
it.
so far? Yeah, yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us like, from your humble beginnings to like kind of like where you are now.
So when I first started, I was focused more on studio work as opposed to my content, because I was still
Mm-hmm.
learning the ins and outs of the industry, learning like how to be professional in certain settings, like what's expected, just proper like business etiquette, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was able to learn that on these studio sets with these like seasoned performers and like directors, and just being like in the makeup chair and everything. And then once I learned like how to shoot things right and everything, I was like, wait, I could do this. And then I started shooting super fun stuff for like my own sites. And now
Yay.
it's like I don't want to say it's a balance, but it's probably like 40% studio work to 60% self produced.
That's so good to hear. I love that because, like, now that you have had more experience under your belt, like now you can like, okay, like I know what is working for me. I know how to do this stuff. Why not take the reins on that too, and just have another passive income stream
Yeah,
as
and
you
just
go,
have full
right?
control over it, because like I've done
Yeah.
some wild things for like my own sites that I don't think studios would be like, that's a little. Because like one of my favorite scenes was a 1.5 hour long DP double badge double anal, and I had it like I have a flashlight of my pussy, and there's only like one in existence because I got it when they were scanning at the first XBiz convention.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
so I used that, and we shoved it in my butt, and they fucked my butt pussy, and like just a million other wild things that we were just coming up with as the scene went on, since it was an
Oh my
hour and a half.
God.
And I'm like,
Dude.
it was literally the most insane stuff. I had such a blast. So like I got through that. So that's on my sites.
Yeah.
Where if I was working for like a studio, they'd be like, "This is what we're doing," like, and it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much like that's it. I'm like, no, I want to be creative, and like I said earlier,
Yeah.
I'm a pervert. I want to do nasty things.
Well, it's just funner too to have like, more agency and flexibility and like doing the things that you want to do because like as you mentioned, like studio work is completely different than, content that you're generating yourself. So it's like, okay, you have a director on set and you have like, certain angles that they want to shoot you in, certain things that they want you to do, which is fine. Absolutely. It's like they have a vision. They
Yeah.
should always have a vision. They have a structure. But
Mm.
then when you're doing stuff on your own, it's always like, okay, well, let's see how far we can take this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so much fun. I mean, like going back to talking about like anal and just like hardcore content in general. I would love to know, like, for those who are wanting to get into doing some anal work, whether it is in the studio or whether with their partner or whoever, what is the best way to prep? Like, what is your routine? Like, how do you do things? People are always curious about this.
So prepping for being on camera is different than prepping for off camera. Just because off camera, I'll do a quick little rinse out because I'm ready to fuck right then and there. For shooting, it's gonna be like a long day, so I do like my little clean out the night before. I'll take a couple of Imodiums, and then I'm ready for the next day because I'm all flushed out and everything's like stopped from the
Yeah.
Imodium. So I eat whatever I want and I'm good to go. It's
Wow.
so hard when people ask about like how do you prep like to put something in your butt because I have the most elastic butthole. Like it is meant to be fucked. I pop a fist in at any given moment. I don't stretch. Like it just opens and grabs onto
Wow.
what's in there. But the best thing is just don't. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Start with a
Mm-hmm.
finger, then put another in maybe, or start with the tip of like any type of object. Just any, yeah. If it feels right, keep going. If it doesn't, don't. Just do what you enjoy. That's the whole point of sex is to enjoy it
Totally.
and like learn your body.
Absolutely. It's like all about the exploration and curiosity. If you have it, not everyone does, but like if you have it, then absolutely continue on with that. Like, I mean, when you were first kind of exploring your body and figuring out, hey, I like anal. Like, how did you discover that? I know it sounds like a strange question, but like some people have never have been interested in anal. Some people are interested but are scared. They're worried about the pain, discomfort, poop, potentially. Like, we would just love to hear like your perspective on that.
I wish I could remember, but when I tell you I have had hundreds of people inside of my asshole, like I don't even remember who the first person to fuck my ass was. I have no idea who. Like I know I've been like masturbating anally for a long time, but
Yeah.
I remember like I think like the third or fourth person I ever had sex with, I was like, you could pick either hole, like whatever. But I don't remember if that was the first time or if I'd done it before. Like there's just been so
Hmm.
many people inside there. Yeah.
Do you ever remember like if it was ever uncomfortable for you? I know like people's asses are all different, some are tighter, some are more elastic as well too, but like did you ever have any like bouts of discomfort when you were first doing it, or was it just like I'm just ready and open and it's just like I just more so in terms of like did you ever have to like work up to get to that elasticity?
No, it's just natural. I think my body, like, I have a very greedy asshole. Like, it's very much like if it senses something's nearby, it's like, okay, let me swallow you up. Like,
Yeah.
uh, a lot of people were surprised that, like, I think I had like four now, but my anal scenes with the dread, like, my first anal scene with him was like a month into the industry, and people were like, what? We're not even doing normal. I'm like, It was fantastic. And like every time I shoot with him now, like I don't really stretch beforehand. I just lube it up and then I'm ready to go. Like
Wow.
oh my God, I love it.
You're lucky. You were so lucky. Like I need to, prep a little bit, but like before I talk about my stuff, I'd love to hear like you mentioned prepping for on camera is different than prepping, for personal or like off camera kind of stuff. Can you kind of talk about the difference between those two perspectives?
Yeah. So if you're shooting, you're expecting at least a few hours of like between prep time and like wrapping with shooting. So like you need to be prepared for a lengthy amount of time. But if I'm just ready to like have some fun off camera, then I'm like, okay, we just need to like do a clean out of, like for approximately like an hour ish or however long I think, depending on what I'm doing.
Totally.
And I just clean out for that amount. But I like 3 or 4 months ago now, I went like predominantly plant based. So ever since I did that, my clean out process is so fast and easy. Like it was easy before, but once I like pretty much cut out all animal products, oh my God,
That's so
it's no work at
interesting.
all.
Really? Can you talk to us about that? Like what bodily changes you might have noticed and stuff too? Because I'm personally interested in that. Like that's really, really cool.
Yeah. So I went sober around the same time I went predominantly, like I don't want to say vegan because I'm like 99.9% plant based, but like if I'm hungry and there's no like plant based options, I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, for sure. That's okay.
Yeah, but I did those at the same time, so I'm not too sure exactly. But I know like animal products cause a lot of inflammation because I mean like it's dead corpses and dairy,
Yes.
pussy stuff. Like it's
Yes.
not naturally meant to be ingested. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so it just with the decrease in the inflammation and everything that causes, like everything just flows through perfectly.
So much easier.
Yeah.
Wow. And it was like a really distinctive difference that you have personally noticed, like when you
Oh,
switched over,
my
like
clean
night
out
and
used to
day.
take like 4 hours to be like a full system clean out. Now it's like maybe an hour. Yeah.
I'm shook. Sorry, I'm just like
Yeah,
jaw
no,
dropping
it's
to the floor.
like aside from the fact that I did it as like a personal decision just because I love animals,
Yeah.
for anal wise, like it was the best decision ever. Oh my God. But also like when I decided to go predominantly plant-based, I was like, well, I should do this for my health as well, not just for the sake of like my animal friends. So I cut out a lot of chemicals. So I was drinking a lot of like
Oh,
Red Bulls and like Monsters and stuff. And I switched
not
to
great for
just,
you.
yeah, now if I need caffeine, I just have yerba mates. Those are my go-to
Yeah, those are
now.
great.
And
Hells
I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like the lack of chemicals in my body also helped with like just keeping everything going as it
Flowing
should.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like for those, because we do have, I didn't prep this with you earlier, but like we do have a lot of people that listen to the show that are not in the industry. So like, can you describe like what you mean by a full clean out? Just like define like what that is or how you do that in a bit more detail, just because, yeah, there's sometimes people are like, what do you mean by this? And I didn't understand that part, but if you can clarify a little bit, that'd be great.
Of course. So, my best friend is my shower enema. And yes, that means I dookie in my shower. I clean it. I clean it very well. Uh, but yes, it's like a long tube that attaches to your shower head,
Shower head,
and
yes.
you like control the pressure, and you just like put it up your butt, and then you like stand over the open drain and just let it
Go out.
clean your whole system. I do like a full at-home colonic where like I just go like make sure the whole system's clean. That way I can then take my Imodium and then I can eat whatever I want with no worry. Because
Wow.
when I first got in the industry, I was starving myself
Oh,
and
no.
I passed out on set once.
Ooh.
And like just I'd be low energy for my scenes. I'd be lightheaded. I'm like, this is insane. Why am I starving myself? So
Yeah.
I figured out what worked best for my body, and that was full clean outs with some Imodium. And now I'll eat on set, I'll eat the morning of, I'll eat like whenever I want.
Wow, that's awesome to hear because, I always hear like people are not, I hear that starving thing a lot too when I'm having conversations. Like, that is so unhealthy.
Right? Like, I'll bring up anal or like anything, and people be like, "Oh, gummy bears," and I'm like,
Gummy bears,
"No,
yeah.
not gummy bear." So, for those that don't
Oh
know,
my
people like
gosh.
that starve themselves have gummy bears because you pee it out pretty much. It's all just gelatin or whatever, so it's not
Yes.
like. But first of all, if I'm on an empty stomach and I have sugar, it's going to give me a tummy ache and I'm gonna be nauseous. Because
Yeah.
I don't really have sugar anyway. But also, you're still like, that's not going to satiate your appetite to have some gummy
No.
bears. Like, just clean out, learn your body, take Imodium or don't. Again, learn your body, but don't
Hmm.
starve yourself. Because again, then
Yeah.
you're low energy, and that's no fun.
No, and like with sex, it's such a physical thing, and I almost like,
Yeah,
for me personally, I feel like it takes more energy when I'm doing anal than with like regular vaginal, quote unquote regular vaginal sex. Like,
yeah.
for me, it's just because I'm tight, so it's just like I need to concentrate, and it's,
Mhm.
a physical, much more physical pounding that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you want to be able to have the energy to sustain that in your body because it can be quite intense for a lot of people.
Yeah, because like not even just sex, but like performing, especially on camera, is such a full body workout that uses like all your muscles, the cardio. Like,
Yes.
you need to be like sufficiently nutritioned. I don't know if the proper word for that. Like,
No, I
yeah,
get you. I
yeah,
get
like feed
you.
yourself.
Please, please, everyone, feed yourself. Oh my
Yeah,
God, for the love of God.
literally. I'm like, oh, learn from my mistakes. Don't like. There's a healthy way to do this.
I love to hear that because, like, there's a lot of unhealthy things and habits that can come from being in this industry. I mean, you also mentioned you also went sober around the same time that you kind of went vegan
Mm.
as well. Can you talk to us about like why that was a decision that you want to take for yourself and for your life?
Yeah, well, I have pretty much been an alcoholic for like my whole life. Not like the daily drinking thing, but I would start drinking and was not able to stop. So it was just sloppy. And like, I went sober for like a year a while ago. And I noticed like my muscle definition was better. Like, I had like a little chin that went away. I was like, "Ooh, she's looking sad." Um,
Yay.
and then I would go back to drinking and I'd be all like bloated looking and just feel gross. And uh, yeah, so I was like,
Wow.
let's just go healthy. So I was like, organic, plant based, sober, let's do it.
Wow. Was it difficult for you in the initial, like, I guess, beginning part when you were becoming sober? Like, how was that journey for you? Because I know that so many people struggle with sobriety. Not so many people, but yes, definitely a good amount of us. We like to enjoy alcohol, and especially it's so accessible in this industry when you're at events and stuff like that. There's a lot. It's like open bar and parties and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
please talk to us about your journey. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's journey is different. For me personally, I've been trying to go sober for like 10 to 15 years, like
Wow.
hundreds of times. Just like when I was in college, I was hospitalized a few times for my drinking. Like, it was just not healthy at all.
Yeah.
Once I got in the industry, though, like, it wasn't as bad as it was before because, like I said, I wanted to wait until I had my head on. But there were still times where I'd be at work events and I would drink, and I was like, "Wow, I'm sloppy. I need to be professional. Like, this is
Mhm.
not right." Especially because
Mhm.
I get really horny when I drink, and I'm like, my baseline's horny. Let's not do this. I'm a goblin now. But yeah, so I tried so many times, but this last time around was finally like a light switch, I guess, where I just felt inside me. I was like, it's not effort to not drink now. I simply don't want to because I don't
Wow.
like see the positives of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
like
look at all
the
these health benefits. What am I doing? Like, why would I purposely poison myself?
No, totally, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then that's such a healthy choice for yourself, and also a very professional choice that you're making for yourself as well. So I'm glad that you were able to like take that step because it can be really, really, really hard, especially when like you're surrounded by alcohol
Yeah.
everywhere, right?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I did like drink too much at some work events when I first started. And I definitely embarrassed myself. I'd wake up the next day, just, I slept in my makeup, like hair mess. I would just feel like shame. And
Yeah.
since I got sober, I've been to multiple work events, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to bed at a reasonable hour. My makeup's off, my skincare is done, teeth are like brushed, everything's good. I feel good about myself. There's no shame in sight. Like, this is
Yes.
lovely. Why would I ever go back?
That's amazing. That's so good. Like, I would love to hear, like, if, when you are like attending like XBiz and like AVNs and stuff, like, do you ever feel, I don't know, not tempted, but like, do you ever feel the pressure? Like, pressure is probably a better word, to have a drink at all, or like, or you're good now.
Oh, I'm so good now. At the XBiz nomination party this year,
Hmm.
I had such like amazing feeling, I guess, because the XBiz nomination party last year, I blacked out and apparently had sex with a few performers and didn't remember it.
Oh my gosh.
And I just was sloppy and unprofessional. And I was like, I know other people probably don't care, but I care. Like, this isn't how I
Yeah,
want to present myself. So then
totally.
at the same party this year, I was like, wow, from a year ago to now, and all I'm doing is drinking water. I'm hydrating. I'm feeling amazing. Like, I'm not embarrassing myself. I'm like, this is lovely.
That's so
Like, it's such a
amazing
good
to
feeling.
hear. Yeah, I mean, like, what kind of advice would you give to people? Because, like, obviously, this is something that you've wanted to do for, you said, 10 to 15 years now. Like,
Hmm.
I would love to hear any kind of like real tangible advice that you would give to folks, because obviously, like, it's not easy to do that, and it took you a long time to get there. So I'd love to hear like what has worked for you, and like, and also, like, I also want to hear like how, like, why this time versus other times and stuff. I've just asked you like three questions in
No,
one,
you're
but
good. Yeah. Okay, let me try to remember them all. So, um, basically, the most important thing is don't try to do it by yourself. The times previously, I tried going to like AA meetings. I've been to a few of them, all different places. Actually, the first one I went to was in Vancouver.
Oh, no
Um,
way. Crazy.
so I was in Canada, and then I went just whenever. Yeah, I would try because I would like black out on a trip or do something, and then I'd be like, "Oh, shame," and then I'd go to a meeting, and I was like, "This feels culty. It's not my vibe." Works for some people,
Mm,
not for me.
yeah.
So I would just try to do it on my own, um, and then I would just keep messing up, or not
Oh,
messing up,
yeah.
but like
It's
backtracking.
challenging. It's really
Yeah.
challenging. It's
So
hard.
for this time around, I was like, okay, don't be a prideful son of a bitch. Like, you have friends that are sober, you have friends that aren't sober but still
Hmm.
support you. Like, just call.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I went to the When We Were Young festival in Las Vegas, and
Fun.
uh,
I'm so
it
jealous.
was a lot of fun. But I definitely like had some moments where I was like, overwhelmed, like just sensory overload. And I was like, oh, I could
Yeah,
really go for some drinks right now. So instead, I just called one of my friends. I was like, can I talk? And then I had a good little cry. And then I was like, oh, wait, what am I doing? This is amazing. Let me keep drinking water. Like, why would I be a mess?
totally.
And
That's so
yeah,
great.
so just um, don't do it alone, because you could think you could do it alone. And it's
Yeah.
always good to have people to lean on.
I would love to hear a bit more too. And I know I asked you a bunch of questions before. We'll get back to those questions too. But like, I mean, talking about like a support system for this, yeah, it's obviously really, really important to have that, and to have that access in your back pocket. Like, who's there for you in your life when it comes to stuff like this? Because, like, some people think that they have, like, I mean, there is some degree of quote unquote shame. You feel that internally, but like, there shouldn't be any shame when you're trying to call like someone that is wanting to help you succeed
Yeah.
in this. Like, I'd love for you to share a little bit about that, if that's okay with you.
Of course, yeah. I don't have many friends in this industry just because I like to keep like a solid like work life balance. But
Hmm.
the few I have, I trust with my life. So like the people that have been there for me specifically, like when I like that I felt comfortable reaching out to when I'm like I cannot do this alone. Casey Warner and Tommy King. Those are like my
Amazing.
amazing human beings. They deserve all the love. Yeah, golden humans.
Oh, That's so amazing to hear, because yeah, it's really challenging, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about sobriety or like anything really. Like if you, it's so important to have someone, at least some person there that can, help you go through your challenges, because it's so isolating to do things alone. And
Yeah.
oftentimes you'll try and then you won't be successful, because like it's really really hard to do on your own. you know
Yeah, like I said, I tried for years and years to do it on my own. I tried with meetings, then I was like, no, I'll do it on my own, da da da. And then I'd make it for a little bit, and then I'd be like trying to talk myself out of it, and I'd be like, well, like addict nonsense.
Right. Yeah.
So now I'm like,
Unfortunately, yeah.
okay, instead of trying to talk myself out of it, I have an actual support like system. Like I'm
Hmm.
not a burden. Like this is what friendship is for. Don't try to do it
Totally.
alone. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, because I'm like
Wow.
hyper independent. I'm like, no, you need to give myself like a little talking to. Like
Like discipline, we can
you need to
do
reach out.
this.
Yeah,
And then I guess
yeah.
like the other question I had was like, why and how was this time more successful than the others? Because like I believe I just read like you just surpassed your 1 year sobriety, I think, maybe, or maybe I read, maybe it's an older tweet. I don't know.
I tried a year a while ago, and then
Mm.
backtracked a little bit. I think I'm at like 3 or 4 months now.
Oh, great. That's
Yeah.
still amazing. And like, yeah, going back to that question, like, how was this time like different than other times?
I think the other times I tried, but I just wasn't ready yet. Like something, you just
Hmm.
have to be ready at your core. Like other times I
Yeah.
tried, but I still had like the desire that I was fighting. And now
Hmm.
there's no desire I'm fighting. I'm like, why would I do that? I don't see benefits of it. Like I just got the ick, I guess.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just,
Totally.
yeah.
That's definitely a thing, and you're not alone in that too. And like, you have to be completely aligned, I guess, like with your mind, your body, everything, your surroundings, the work, and everything, because
Yeah.
it takes a lot out of you, right?
Yeah. Like,
So
because all the times I've tried, I wasn't at like the best place for like this reason or that reason. And now I'm like, my life is so amazing. I worked so hard for it. Like I have never been healthier. I've never been happier. So now I'm like, there's nothing to escape from. Like, why would I want to not be a part of this? Like actively participating in my amazing life.
hell's yeah. And huge congratulations on that. And like, bravo, because like you are being so brave to do that for yourself and to
Mm.
take hold of your life. So like, just know that a lot of your fans are rooting for you, and it's a great change.
And I'm
Definitely a
rooting
great
for them
change.
too if they're going through anything. I'm rooting for
Hell's
everyone out
yeah.
there.
Hell's yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, going back to you, sorry for the side tangent, but I think it's also really important to speak about that as well. But like, in terms of like, we were talking about prep, we were talking about on screen, we're talking about personal, but like I would love to hear like how do you rest? Because it's obviously with hardcore content, like it takes a toll on your body.
Mm.
Maybe you're more elastic than other people. But like I'd love to hear like what a typical rest day looks like for you. How do you rest? Because everyone's rest day looks different.
I am insane in that I will work myself until I break. So I'm always like, I need to be doing this, 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 and this. Like, no matter how busy I am, I always dedicate my 2 days a week to volunteer for the community because no
Right.
matter what, I'm like, I refuse to let my life be all about porn or like sex work or anything, just because I'm like, I
Mm.
need to have like something stable that's not related to that.
Hells yeah.
So because I then have 5 days a week to do all this work stuff, I'm like trying to cram it all in. And I'm like, okay, well, then I have to like do cleaning and then like do organizing and like my hard drives and then like edit it. There's just always something to do. So
Yes, there
usually
is.
I'll just keep going until I crash. And then I spend about 15 hours sleeping in bed, cuddling my cats and watching TV.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
I go at it again. It's not
Wow.
the healthiest cycle, but
No.
like it's working for now. Like I got one of these Aura rings
Oh yeah, I've read
that
about that.
I
That's so
never heard
cool.
about it. Then one of my friends had it, and I was like, "Oh, I want to get one," because I always wanted like a Fitbit or a smartwatch, but I don't do watches. So I was like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
so easy."
And it's cute
Uh,
too.
so I've been using it because I never walk enough, so I'm like using it to like actively like hit step goals. But it also
Yeah.
tracks my sleep. And it was like, last
Cool.
night you slept 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I was like, oh. They were like, you got
Oops.
17 minutes of REM. And I'm like, I could probably do better on that.
Yeah.
But it says I'm
That's
super healthy on
cool.
like every other aspect.
I
Because
love
you
that.
sleep a
You
lot
know
more.
what? Whatever works for you. Like, I can't say that's the healthiest, but like, it's
Yeah.
working for you now. I worry about your burnout, Nicole, though. I worry about you burning out.
But my volunteer work is what keeps me from burning out, because it's like where
Hmm.
I get to just center myself and just be in the moment with whoever I'm helping and like what I'm doing.
I love it. You're so dedicated to like your purpose. I feel it because like I feel like you obviously love the industry, which is really really great, but like you still make time to give back in your own capacity, and I think that is so important and admirable because like honestly, I don't really hear that too much. So,
I just feel like when people make their entire lives their job, no matter what industry it is, that's not healthy.
hmm
And for the
hmm
longest time, I wasn't in the financial position to be able to volunteer. So I had to make every like waking, breathing moment work. And that's not healthy. So I'm finally, thankfully, in a financial position where I can take the time off and do this for myself, which is also, for others. But
yeah,
like, it's so important. I
so
realized like
important.
once I forced myself to take that time off, the money just happened to like flow in more easily because I wasn't burned out and I was able to give more in work.
That
So,
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, for
uh,
sure. I think that's really great. And like being in this industry can enable you to do a lot of things that you've wanted to do, that you have wanted to like you've put off for a bit and stuff like that. So I think it's really, really, really cool that you're able to do that. In terms of like, you were mentioning like, it's important to have some kind of like work-life balance too. And
yeah.
it's good to have like non Nicole Aria time to yourself to like really be you. Like,
Oh, yeah.
where do you find that in your schedule, and like what do you do to be not Nicole Aria for
I
a
mean,
minute?
my volunteer work, just hanging at home with my cats. Even like my industry friends, I'm not Nicole right now if I'm not on camera or like messaging on my OnlyFans or anything. Like if I'm not actively working, that's it. Like
Hmm.
it's off. Although like
Yeah.
there's not much. So like I said earlier, I'm autistic as shit. So my brain doesn't work with like work persona brand versus like who you are. I'm like, we are one
Hmm.
and the same.
Yeah.
Um, it's more so just like remembering to like switch the names in my brain.
Yeah.
But
Definitely
um,
important.
overall, like I am a horny goblin to my core. So like uh, it's mostly just like I'm not dressing quite as feminine or wearing makeup
Yeah,
if I'm not working. But other than
totally.
that, it's all the same.
Wow, that's really cool though, because like I feel like your fans would really get to know you in that aspect, and that's why people keep coming back.
Yeah, like when I like talk to my fans on my OnlyFans or like Minx or Sex Panther or whatever, I'm like, you're getting my voice. Like, yes, I will be sexy about it, but also I am goofy as hell. So like
Hells
it's like
yeah.
a solid balance. Like I like to describe myself as an anal whore next door. I'm like, yep, I can pop my fist in my ass at a moment's notice. But also like, hi.
That's amazing. And I think it's like so important for you to like display that to your fans, and like hopefully this episode too, like they will be able to like get more in depth with you, and like it's really cool to see your vulnerable side as well. So it's been really, really great chatting with you. But we do have a question. Oh, and actually no, we're not gonna go into questions yet. One more thing. I just want to ask like what are your future plans and like your bucket list goals for like 2025 and like onwards?
Oh my god, so much. I'm constantly coming up with like new goals, new plans, just constantly trying to grow.
As you should.
Um, I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I think 2025 is going to be the year of like my self-produced bukkake because I've never done one before and I've always
Oh,
wanted to, and I have like one
yay.
in mind. So I'm like, I'm going to hire the male talents I want for it
Yeah.
that aren't contracted because we're contracted, but whatever. And yeah, I'm just going to make it exactly how I want to, hire the director I want to like shoot it the way I want, and like I have an exact thing in mind, and that's going to happen this year for sure.
Yay, manifest. You'll
Oh
make it
yeah.
happen.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited.
Any like personal goals that you wanted to share as well, or anything that you might be interested that you want to cross off your bucket list?
Huh. I don't know. I feel like personally, I'm so fulfilled right now. I can't even think of anything.
Yeah, you sound very focused, which is so great and like a key to all of your success and future successes as well. So tons to celebrate here, but like it was truly so much fun getting to know you over the past like hour. You have such
Oh
a
my
great
God, it has been
energy.
an hour already.
I know, so crazy, which is awesome. And like, it's so nice because I haven't like looked at my notes at all. Because for those who don't know, I have a little thing of notes on the side, but like when I don't have to look at it and the conversation's flowing, it's like chef's kiss. Like,
Oh, I can
amazing.
talk.
You got a great personality, but there is
As
one
do you.
question. Oh, thank you. There is one question that did come from your fans. This person writes in, does she still love cum shots in her eyeballs?
So, yes and no. So when I first got in the industry, like my like go-to thing was like having people come directly in my eyes, because I was like, oh, it's something that'll stand out. I enjoy it. Like it's fun because I feel like the throbbing of my eyes the rest of the day, and it's like a reminder of the fun from before. But also, I'm not the biggest. I don't really do that much anymore. Just because if someone has like gonorrhea or something, I don't want to go blind.
Right.
It is a risk.
That. Yeah, that's a risk.
Or just like if I went like, if it was like an anal scene and they came in my eye, like there's always some type of, that's not worth it.
It's definitely not worth it. Let's not do that. That's the last.
I did just shoot a custom.
Yeah,
like I shot a custom relatively recently that's available on my sites, where the guy wanted someone to come directly in my eyes, and it was a POV scene. And so I did that because it was a custom, and like it was like a performer. I was like, I know it's gonna end up in my eyes. Like it's all planned out. It's good.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like for regular scenes.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'd rather eat it.
There you go. We there's like much other great places we can put that cum. So don't worry.
Oh, so many.
Well, it was so great having you on the show, Nicole. But like, where can we all find you? You can name your sites, your handles, all the things, anything upcoming that's going to be released, anything like that. Now is the time to name them all.
So it's super easy. TheNicoleAria.com, or any of the social medias. It's at The Nicole Aria. My Blue Sky, my Instagram, my Twitter, all this stuff. The Nicole Aria, except for Minx and Sex Panther, just Nicole Aria. And I think ManyVids also The Nicole Aria. Yeah. Yeah, TheNicoleAria.com.
We've got all those links in the show notes below. If you guys haven't clicked on it already, be sure to follow Nicole, reach out to Nicole, do all the things. And that is your homework on that side. Your other homework today, people listening at home, is for you to rate 5 stars on the podcast, write a nice little review on Apple Podcasts, answer the questions on Spotify. There's lots of things you can do, and that actually helps people discover the show. So if you like it, go ahead and share with your friends, share it with other people in the industry, share with people that might be entering the industry. All this stuff is super helpful, and it's really great for me too. So you okay? It's okay. This part can all be like muted out. Don't even worry about it.
Oh my God. Woo!
And if you also have time, besides rating the reviews and 5 stars and all the great things, you could also contact me at Stripped by Sia on X, on Blue Sky, and now I have to plug that too. We've got Stripped by Sia podcast on Instagram, and if you're interested in coming onto the show, you're more than welcome to pitch yourself. It's strippedbysia.com, and there's a contact page there. You can fill out the form there. I read all of the submissions that come in. There have been a lot of them coming in, so come chat with me about your idea. I'd love to bring it to life. And it's new episodes every single Sunday, and we will catch you all in for another episode next week. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Nicole.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. You're listening to Stripped by Sia, hosted, produced, and edited by Steph Sia. Music by Ted D. Graphic design by Maria Bellanderama and photography by Ian Dabrin.